just a notice to say there won't be a meeting next Monday. So next week, there'll just be the Thursday meeting in a week's time. I am thinking of doing, because the lockdown ends next week. Well, the beginning of the end of the lockdown, who knows? But so I think I'll be busier, and I think once a week when everyone's out and about will be enough. But I'll let you know. So it's not for definite that it'll be just every Thursday, but it may be. And another quick announcement. I mentioned this last week, Monday rather, that my friend Neil is doing something called Non-Duality Cafe immediately after this meeting, which you're all welcome to go to. And Darren is going to put the link in the chat if you would like to go to that. Basically, it's just a social get together. There won't be any presentation of any kind, just a virtual cafe or a virtual bar, whichever you prefer, virtual pub, but you're all welcome to go to that. So I just saw in the chat, how long will this be? It's going to be an hour. Whoever asked that. So, just this. Only this. This is it. All of it. Everything and nothing at all. Nothing is excluded. Including nothing. We're not apart from it. We don't belong to it. This doesn't have any parts. It's whole. This is complete. There's simply no more or less. Just thoughts and imagination of more or less. And they're this too. Sounds grand. Might even sound grandiose. It's really not. It's too simple. It doesn't need to be seen. There's nothing to see. Whatever's seen is just seemingly seen. And that's it too. There's no getting closer. There's no moving towards. or away. There are no parts to be closer than other parts. Just a story that seemingly some others have got something you want. They haven't. No one gets this. That's the love. If some could get it and others couldn't, or others can't, it wouldn't be love. There really is nothing to get. That's the unconditional nature of life. It is not a thing. This is not a thing. So it can't be had. The seeking is futile. There will never be any more than there is. Or if you're looking for less, just the same. There couldn't be less. This is the impossibility of specialness. The impossibility of superiority or inferiority, other than telling a story that this is better than that. She's better than him. He's closer than her. So this message or this communication, whatever you want to call this, is not about giving you clues to get closer. It just is seemingly saying all of that, all of those ideas are empty, along with everything else. And empty can sound grim. It can sound nihilistic. It can sound hopeless. But it's none of those. Again, they're just simply ideas we have about the loss of meaning, the loss of purpose, the loss of path, the loss of journey. Self lives in a story of journey, in a story of time, of getting somewhere, moving forward or moving backwards, getting closer or further away. But there is only this, and this doesn't move. This is absolutely still. Stillness appearing to move. So if you'd like to share anything or ask a question, then just raise your hand and yeah, say whatever comes up.
Hello, Tim. Can you hear me?
Hi, David.
Hello. Hi. Got my hand
Hi.
up. Yeah, I turned up a bit early. Got the timing wrong. And I scribbled some things down here.
Yeah.
So it's a sharing, really. I'm not really sure why, or
Oh, that's fine.
there's no answers. It's a stream of consciousness thing, really. It just take a minute or so. Just thinking aloud, really. And it's very relative, the terms I'm talking in here, assuming that time exists and all that kind of story stuff. But so I've been in this non-duality lark for 20 odd years maybe now. And of course, not a lot's happened. Tough luck, as Tony would say.
Yeah.
Although having said that, there sometimes seem to be more speakers than seekers. There we are.
Yeah, it can seem like that, can't it?
It's frustrating for the minions, you know. So yeah,
there's still room though, Dave. Don't worry about it. You can.
But I've been thinking about why I keep coming back again and again and again to it. Apart from the purely addictive side to it, and it is addictive. It's Seekers Anonymous kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it can almost seem counterproductive at times. I remember Paul Hederman couldn't stop people going to see him all the time, but talking about that the danger of flooding the carburetor. You just need a teeny little bit of fuel to set this thing going, you know.
Oh yeah.
Well, you know, it's all very kind of story stuff. I like that.
Yeah.
You can flood your carburetor here, you know, be careful. And I think Nisargadatta, as far as I remember, used to throw people out after, I think it was 10 days. You just throw them out of the room and say, you know the nothing, now you can go.
Yeah.
Just throw them out. And, you know, scream at them. And so anyway, coming back again and again and again, I'm presuming you're prepared to be a very old man speaking to the same people that are in the room.
I'm so not. Right, Dave, I'm not prepared to be an old man at all.
But anyway, but in a way, your job...
I'm not preparing for that.
Anyway, don't be surprised if we're all still... Well, I'll be gone by then anyway. But part of your job description in some ways to get rid of us. You know,
yes.
That Yuji, you know, that lovely... well, he was so full of great stuff, wasn't he? It doesn't matter who your teacher is, he will have to go.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, lovely stuff, actually.
No, that's very true. Well, that's a very similar way of saying if you meet the Buddha on the road, then kill him.
Well, it is, yeah. And again, David Karsh crops up for me. You know, you get one, albeit magnificent book, but then it's fuck off and stop bothering me.
Yeah, that sounds closer to what I might say.
Sorry, excuse the language, but you know, piss off and leave me alone, which is...
No, fuck off is good.
So, yeah, again and again and again. It occurs to me that maybe in some ways, some of us, certainly me, we're setting the bar too high.
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, desperately seeking the liberation thing, and
yeah,
the way of mitigation is some relief. And I can hear the non-dual police are at my door actually at the moment. Maybe best to be seen as the equivalent of going to church. You know,
oh yeah, it can be, yeah.
Kindred spirits, you know, like-minded souls, and
without a doubt, yeah.
When two or more are gathered in my name and all that stuff.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that, David.
No, there's not.
I don't have any sense that there's anything wrong with that.
All I'm doing is kind of speaking aloud, and these things were going through my mind prior to joining you, and that's about it, really, you know. But I hope you're prepared to get rid of us.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah. Yeah, well, I've noticed the numbers have gone down this week, so maybe that's there you go. I end up with nothing, and then I'm a great success.
Well done, you. All power to you.
That's a strange criteria for success that doesn't happen in many businesses.
Anyway, that's all I want.
Nobody turns up, and you go, "Well, finally, I am the master." just speaking to myself. I still sit here and look at the screen and speak to myself. Yeah.
That's
Well,
all.
but what you say is very true. If you still have a master, that's why I really I balk against the whole lineage thing, where you know, the traditional master and disciple, the whole idea of that. You know, that's why I kind of agree, because you mentioned, you know, that Tony said this is a new message, only started when he or someone else said it 30 years ago. But I kind of agree in a way, because what we're speaking of is the death of this being a teaching, whereas before, you could say, it's always been a teaching, where the more you learned, the more understanding you gained, then the closer you were getting. And so this message is different to that. It really is. I mean, it's the antithesis of that, really.
Sure, I
So
understand that.
what I'm saying is, there is absolutely nothing, whatever learning or knowledge you think you've gained, it is utterly worthless.
It goes back more than 25 years, though.
Yeah. Oh no. But what I mean, in comparison with that, what we call religious teaching, really.
Yeah.
Spiritual teachings.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks.
Oh, thanks, David. But yeah, if you do meet the Buddha on the road, you don't have to kill him. I think I've said that before. You could just smile sweetly and go for a coffee with him, maybe. And, you know, say, I hear you've suffered quite a lot. Do you want to talk about it? Shall we go to the pub and have a chat? But as equals, that's the whole point. The whole message is the utter equality of human beings, the utter equality of everything. Everything is equally empty. So in that, there is absolute equality. That's the message. There is no higher or lower. There are no levels. There is no transcendence. You could say this is complete immanence. There you go. I use a few religious terms. This is total immanence and the impossibility of transcendence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll buy that.
Okay. But of course, I mean, and that's why I would again say it's different to most traditional teachings of enlightenment or liberation or awakening, which always have levels of moving towards a goal. And this is saying there is no goal. Or if you want, the goal is always attained. But it's no attainment. It's an empty prize. There's no award ceremony. There's actually no one to pin the medal on, even if there were medals. So it's not what most seekers are seeking. You'll have heard lots of speakers say that what you are is what you're seeking. It's not true. I don't find any truth in that at all. Again, it's just another fairy tale. This isn't about a finding. That's just another, I don't know, another carrot to dangle.
Scott has his hand up.
Hi, Scott.
Hey, Tim. Hey, everyone. About levels, I don't think we control them, but I do think there's a slow unveiling going on where what we used to defend, we just stopped defending it, but then all of a sudden we have to allow kind of the things that used to cause us misery. I mean, and everything just has to come in. And you can hear the heart with its little protest and its mind with a little protest going, no, not that.
Yeah. I'm not saying it can't feel like levels, Scott.
Yeah, I know. It certainly does.
Yeah.
And you know, things are coming in that were always there. We just told ourselves that we could avoid them, or that I'm sure it's just old stuff, old fears and stuff.
Yeah. Old stuff. Yeah.
But I had a kind of a sweet moment the other day. I'd been hurt again by somebody, and I just felt like I wasn't going to leave my heart this time. And then I thought, and then we were talking about there's no there, there's just here. And I realized I don't even have a heart. There's just one heart here.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a heart that's empty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Full of love, but empty.
But this idea that I have a heart, I like, this is me and that's you.
Yeah.
And
To break my heart. Yeah.
break my heart. And all of a sudden I could see it was all the same. We all had the same heart, everything.
Yeah.
And so when you're in the present, you can be in that. You just know that whatever you're in love with, everyone's in love with, or it's this, you know.
Yeah. Well, don't tell them that, because they won't agree with you.
I think they sense it though. I think it's one of those things best left unsaid. Like on a vibrational level.
Yeah, most of what we're speaking about is best unsaid, but yeah, it's true.
Anyway, there's a real sweetness in not being separate, you know, not being excluded.
Yeah.
What you said about the illusion of exclusion, it's almost like there was always one, and we just invented number two.
That's so true. Yeah.
No one else had a number two.
Yeah, well, that feeling of exclusion is the same as feeling special. You know, I'm special in my exclusivity.
Yeah, I'm the one who sees the one.
Well,
I'm the two who sees the one.
Absolutely, yeah. And of course, nobody sees things as I do. How special am I? This is exclusively mine. This experience, this life. This is my life. This is my experience. This is utterly exclusive. And although self might say it wants to give that up because it's so painful to feel separate and excluded, it's funny, we have this one, exclusive is a very positive term for self, and excluded is a very negative term. They're exactly the same. They're the feeling that I'm different, I'm special, I'm unique, I'm me, and no one else is me. That's all we're speaking about, actually. Because if that falls away, even if it thins out, if it starts to evaporate, then everything changes. It's exactly the same, but everything feels very different.
Yeah, even the irony of thinking, oh, it's all one. It's so sad that I know it, nobody else does. It's such a trap, you know?
Well, how special. Well, everyone makes their spiritual beliefs, makes me feel more special. Yeah, of course.
Incredible. But even that's lonely, you know? So it's,
yeah,
that's a dead end as well as anything else.
Well, there's nothing more separating than that, really.
Yeah.
You know, that makes me feel more excluded. But remember, so what the point I'm trying to make is self loves that exclusion.
But he doesn't like the excluded.
Exactly.
Well
when they're one and the same.
Thank you.
Heidi has a hand up.
Heidi.
Hi, Tim. Hi.
Hey, Heidi.
Nice to see you. So it's very interesting because I was this 3 years with Gangaji, and she really was my personal upcoming from the idea I can understand now what this all was.
Yeah.
And the point is, it was this resonance, this personal resonance. And something happened, I don't know what. Now there are several people like you and all the ones I can listen into, there is a total different resonance, and I catch it in the moment. I can just give it away or be in, and I don't know what this is. It's
No.
really not no more personal. This is so great. It's so freeing, something like this. Yeah.
Very freeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I could. Oh, thanks, Heidi.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
I will confess to having an incredible weekend going to see Gangaji.
Okay. Yeah.
In
So you were in Baden-Baden?
No, I went to Berlin.
And Berlin. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, she is so lovely. She's so great.
Yeah.
I think sometimes she has an idea. She had a glimpse, but then she got lost in the teaching, something like that.
Yeah.
It's a meaning, I know, and I do the meaning, I know, but that what comes to me now is much more easier. This has no more weight, something like that. Yeah.
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 Okay. Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Thanks, Heidi.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome.
Jenny has a hand up. Go ahead, Jenny.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Jenny.
I have a newbie question.
A film, also called a movie, motion picture or moving picture, is a work of visual art used to simulate experiences that communicate ideas, stories,
Alexa,
perceptions.
stop. Okay, sorry. Why is it that
Go.
why is it that things don't mean anything?
Hold on, I'll ask Alexa. Alexa, why is it that this doesn't mean anything? Oh yeah, that's the right answer. Well done, Alexa. Good work. So the correct answer to every question you could ever ask is silence. That's the answer. No answer is the answer.
That's all I had.
Honestly, I mean, it's worth nothing. That's why, you say this is worthless, all of this. But that's the answer. The answer is questions do not need answering. I am the one who insists that I need answers to my questions because I want to know. The very sense, what we call me, what I call my sense of self, is that need to know.
So it's the ego?
It's me.
But
What I
there is
call
no
me,
me.
that needy little me who feels very unsafe when he doesn't know what's going on. If I don't know what's going on, if I don't know, how can I keep myself safe? Knowledge gives the illusion that I can keep myself safe. And that's what me wants more than anything. Knowing, really, deep down, there is absolutely no security. This is utterly free. Free means wild, chaotic, unknowable, uncontrollable. I mean, we're no more than raindrops or blades of grass or ants or fleas or amoeba or whatever you think of totally insignificant. Well, here we are, human beings, saying we're in control when we are no more than any of those, no greater. Funnier, crazier, but not better, not more. Sorry, Jenny, did you ask me a question? Yeah, what was the meaning? It was meaning, wasn't it? I asked her. Sorry, I will answer it rather than, you know.
You
What
were
was it?
answering
Was
it.
it?
You answered it for me. I understand
What?
where my questions are coming from.
That's exactly it. Your questions, all questions come from a need to know, don't they? You know, that I'll be better off when I know. And really the better off part of, you know, most selves won't say it's because I'll feel more secure, but that's what underlies all of it. The fear that unknowing, not knowing is dangerous, will not help me keep myself safe.
So maybe I'm better off not knowing.
Well, the thing is, Jenny, yeah, I wouldn't say you're better or worse. But the reality is that there is no knowing. You can know about things, you know, you can know how to make a cake. I was watching Bake Off the other day and thought I ought to improve my cake baking and my scone baking skills because I love cakes. But, you know, for doing practical things, knowledge is good. But for what we're speaking about, for the meaning of life, if you want, what's life all about, knowledge is worthless.
I saw something today that 42 in computer language is actually an asterisk. So it just means life means whatever you want it to mean.
Yeah. Yeah, there is only, so the only meaning that life has is the meaning that I give it, or the meaning that I hear others give it, and then I go, oh, I like that. That makes me feel good. That makes me feel quite secure. That I can align myself with that as a meaning.
You do whatever feels good, but deep down you know that you don't really know.
Yeah. I think self always knows that. But for many selves, it's unconscious. And for some, it becomes unbearably conscious. And then you go off in search of, because that loss of meaning or that absence of purpose and meaning feels really painful, and it's hugely motivating for self to find some more security. Hence, religion is still incredibly popular. Amazingly so. I mean, we're sitting here, you know, the 60 odd of us are sitting here, and we probably don't believe in God. You know, we can, it feels obvious that it's, you know, a nice fairy story to keep the children in line, or a threatening fairy story to keep the children in line. But for most of humanity, that's not the case. They've made it the reality. They've made a fantasy a reality.
But how come things happen in a pattern?
Well, we're really good. That's, you know, I say we're no more than amoeba, but amoeba can't see patterns. Human beings are burdened with this great big brain that's brilliant at pattern recognition. So it can find patterns in everything. That's, you could say that's what we do. But what we do, so the patterns aren't unreal, but the meaning we give to the patterns, that's what we add to it. That's the great illusion. Of course, there's beautiful patterns everywhere, but what do they mean? Well, they mean whatever I pretend they mean. Now, that's the pretense, not the pattern itself. And without the meaning, of course, the patterns are more beautiful. The meaning actually detracts from the direct beauty of life, of what there is, which, yeah, beautiful patterns everywhere. Thanks, Jenny.
Thank you.
In the chat, Denise and Tej both say that their Alexa replied to you. Oh, I should say Alexa replied to you.
Oh, they did get answers.
Yeah.
Denise, can you just tell everyone what the answer was?
Couldn't understand her. She was talking a load of old rubbish. But she did give rather a long answer, I must say, but I wasn't really listening.
No. Oh.
Naomi says she's going to start holding her own satsangs soon.
Yeah.
Can I just very quickly say something very quickly here?
Yes, go, David.
Yeah, I don't want to hog things. Just I read something only yesterday actually by there's a poet called W.S. Merwin, a very famous American poet who I'm not that familiar with, but apparently he was very famous. There's a beautiful little line: "Now all my teachers are dead except silence."
Oh.
And when he was an old man, you know.
Yeah.
He was in his, I think he died in his late 80s or 90s. Now all my teachers, he was a kind of spiritual sort, you would say. Now all my teachers.
Oh, yeah, that's great though.
It's beautiful. He's a poet, of course.
Yeah, that's lovely.
He just nails it somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
If he was still alive, I'd send him a signed copy of This Deafening Silence. Whether he appreciated it or not. Whether he wanted it or not, he can have one.
Alice has her hand up.
Hi, Alice.
Hi, Tim.
Hi.
Okay, so I've been listening to you now for a while, and I've listened to Jim Newman and Tony, although Tony's harder for me to hear. And I've just been listening, and I attend Michael Jeffrey's satsangs. And so it seems like I find myself doing the same thing, seeking, trying to get it, trying to apply it, those same old seeking methods that I had used for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just, again, thinking perhaps the best that I can do is just keep listening. And because I really resonate with what you're saying, and that does seem like the only truth there could possibly be, that maybe through the resonance and listening that, and I guess I have to say that over the last bunch of months, there has been seemingly a bit of a change that has happened. And it seems like that's the only thing I can really do is listen.
Yeah. Yeah, listening. The thing is, I can't even recommend you to listen, because you either, you could say just find yourself listening or not. And one isn't better than the other. It really isn't, no.
Yeah. That's sad to hear.
all I can reiterate is that, you know, this isn't something to get.
Right.
You know, you're still waiting, and the waiting is it. While there's a sense of waiting, that's life happening as waiting.
Okay.
Even when it's absolutely clear, it might be intellectually really obvious that there's nothing to wait for, but there's still a sense of waiting.
Yes.
Yeah. But that isn't wrong. This isn't a place you get to. Tim hasn't arrived. Tony hasn't arrived. Jim hasn't arrived. Lisa hasn't arrived. Whoever you're listening to has not come to a place that you could also arrive at. There is no arrival. There was no journey getting here, and there is no arrival being here. It's a great disappointment. And yeah, it's a disappointment I would wish for everyone.
Yes.
Makes me a bit of a bastard, I know, but I just don't care. It's a strange kind of compassion. as Tony was always pointing out, and I used to go, really, is it compassionate? This shit, you know, that I can't leave alone. Is it compassionate? You know, as I was getting more and more desperate, more and more frustrated, not getting it. Even when I got it, of course, it was obvious I hadn't got it. No, that was it. That was it. As much as, you know, the frustration is just as much this as peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dreadful news. I mean, it's beautiful because it's saying just rest. Life is always saying just rest. It's fine. But it doesn't say it in words. It's saying it in silence, as David's spiritual guy said. I can't. What was his name, David?
Well, he's a poet. I think he was the poet laureate in America. So W.S. Merwin.
W.S. Merwin said, when all the questions,
No, he said, now all my teachers are dead.
All my teachers are
Are
dead.
dead except silence. When he was an old man looking back. You know.
Yeah. Well, that resonates very, very strongly.
Mm.
Yeah. Because it's the end of ever finding any more clues. You know, that you're still looking for clues, Alice?
Yes, I know that I live my day in that seeking. It's even though when I hear you and I hear Michael and I hear I resonate more and I feel better, but I fall back into my old patterns of seekinghood.
Yeah. It's like it's a bit like, yeah, being Hansel and Gretel, you know, looking for breadcrumbs.
Yes.
To find your way. Oh, there's another one, and getting really excited that you found another one. And that's the great illusion, that each breadcrumb will bring you closer.
Yes. Thank you, Tim.
No, thanks, Alice. There is still great compassion for the pain of being me, of being a seeker, of feeling I'm not there, of feeling that I could be there or I should be there. I've said it loads of times, there isn't a there. There's only here and not even that.
Scott has his hand up.
Scott.
Hey, just want to jump in, thanks. Reminds me of this story about Ramana Maharshi where someone had come and they had said, you know, I took an airplane and a boat and a train and a rickshaw just to get here. And he said, you didn't go anywhere. You never moved. You just invented that things changed. And I think why we resonate with you is that there's a part of us that never moved. And we can't get there by doing anything, but we resonate with it.
Yeah.
So there's no effort to it. It's just a calm, letting the rest of it kind of fall away.
Yeah, and it does fall away all by itself. There's no allowing required. It's really against your will.
Yeah, but it's also not giving us techniques or, you know,
no.
Where that would have been like, you know, the bait that caught us every time. Now I think we're all just resonating on this. I don't need another project. You know? It's starting to rotate slower and slower, and I can, you know.
Yeah, it is a bit like that. It's a bit like the hamster wheel. It can feel, even when you've got off the wheel. I've stolen this from Richard Sylvester. It's just the thought just came up. Richard would always say, so even when so you're off the hamster wheel that you've been on, which is the spiritual search or the journey, the wheel has momentum, so the wheel still turns, so it can feel like that's his way of talking about habitual thoughts, habitual emotional patterns still seem to play out. The wheel still, it slows down. It can be a very slow process, the slowing down. There is no process.
Yeah, but what happens, I think you're right. What happens is it slows down enough so that we can see between it, and then we're resonating with you with this part that never moved, that was not, you know.
Yeah.
So we could see through the dream
maybe.
for a minute, and then, but we can't see it, we can't describe it, we could just feel it. So we're feeling our way back into like, okay, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be stillness from here on out. It's gonna be great, you know.
Yeah. It's brilliant. I tell you what, one of the greatest freedoms is that it doesn't need to be, that it's going to be okay. That's the freedom. Is the freedom from, there's absolutely no knowing what it's going to be. In fact, there is no what it's going to be.
But it does mean that we're allowing everything to be as it is, which
Well,
includes a lot of stuff that we've been running as fast as we can to get away from.
yeah, there is great peace in everything being allowed.
Yeah.
But it's never you doing that, Scott.
No, it's the part that never moved. So it was always there. We're just remembering, you know.
Yeah, it
the
could
value
be.
maybe of the slowness and the beauty of it, and the.
It can feel like recognition or remember.
No, did we lose you? What does that mean? Tim?
I think Tim's frozen. Just a sec. I'll just give him a buzz. Okay, let's go. See you then. Okay. Let's just. Okay.
Sorry about that.
Someone wrote in the chat, now the real teaching starts.
Oh yeah, the silence. So in chat,
yeah,
Kane asked earlier, could you ask Tim about money and happiness? For example, can money buy happiness?
Who's asking that? Kane?
Yeah, Kane.
Kane, you don't need me to answer those questions. Everyone knows the answers to those. What does money buy you? Money buys you pleasure. The pleasure of a new car, the pleasure of a holiday, the pleasure, buys you some pleasure. Now, if you want to call that happiness, you can do. Some would align happiness with pleasure. But it can't buy you love, though, can it? Thank you, John and Paul. Definitely can't buy you love. Now, it depends what you want. If you want pleasure, I would, yeah, try and be as rich as you can. It's useful. You know, you're not dining out at Michelin-starred restaurants, are you? Unless, because I'd like to do that. I'm sure some of you would as well. And you need wads of cash for that. But for what we're speaking about, of course, is I wouldn't say money's a handicap. It's irrelevant. Utterly. But for practical living, very nice. Thank you very much. Give me some more money. Yeah. Sorry, what was the question, Darren?
Can money buy happiness? Yeah.
Yeah, it depends what your definition of happiness. Happiness is, I think happiness is illusory. Happiness is very much a self-centered ideal of when I've got everything that I want or everything that I need. I don't think this message has anything to do with happiness at all. Nothing. It has something to do with peace. It has something to do with rest. And it has a lot to do with love. But happiness, no. I might be wrong, but I think for most people, happiness is simply feeling safe, which is a prerequisite for self when there is no safety, and getting what I want. And then getting more of what I want, because of course, when I've got it, I don't want it anymore. So there's no end to that. Isn't that the funniest thing about self? I used to get very upset about that at Christmas and a birthday as a child. I don't know whether that resonates with you, but I would always be very depressed immediately after my birthday or Christmas, because I'd got what I wanted. I wasn't depressed because I didn't get what I wanted. I was really depressed because I'd got what I wanted. Well, what the hell? What do I want now? I've got what I wanted. So you've got to, then self has to manufacture these new goals. You know, I want a better bike. I want improved Lego. Yeah. But spirituality is the same for me as well, you know. So I've reached level 12 on my spiritual ascension towards. I'm such a numpty with spiritual terms. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean. I've got to a level. Well, you know, I'm elated for an hour and a half, and then the next morning I wake up really pissed off. Because now I've got to work on getting to the next level. Shit. But of course, self always wants something to do, so keeps me busy. This is the end of feeling busy. The end of desire to achieve. And that's not, that is exactly what self doesn't want. Self loves the motivation of getting somewhere. But if you've had enough, which, you know, I think that's really, for most selves, they only come near this when they've had enough. I've had enough of chasing. Chasing success. Chasing relationships. Chasing spiritual enlightenment. Doesn't matter. Self doesn't mind any of those.
So
has anyone else got their hand up?
I've got something that I want to show you that's quite funny. So
not one of Darren's jokes. Here we go.
No, I just received this.
Oh yeah, that's nice.
From Julie.
What is it? What's growing out of my head?
Golf clubs. Is the body empty? No.
Oh, that is good. Oh, that is good. What is my head club?
Julie sent that to me.
Why? I'm dreaming about playing golf virtually every night now. It doesn't get any more pointless than hitting a little white ball round fields into a tiny hole. Oh, that's lovely. Thanks, Julie. Well, she did one for Naho. I don't know if you've ever listened to it, Naho, any of you. If you haven't, then you probably should. Julie did one. I saw it yesterday, so she's done the same thing with me. And Naho's head opened up, and it was just full of beautiful flowers. I was a bit worried. A bit worried what Julie thought my head was full of. There's a lot of golf, but there is some other less less acceptable stuff going on in there. This is freedom for all of those, you know, all of those thoughts you went, oh, I really shouldn't be thinking that. What does that make me? Oh, they're free to be whatever they are. How nice is that? You're no longer the pervert you thought you were. Well, you probably are, but it doesn't matter. There is no normal. That's nice as well. I mean, there's freedom in that. There's nothing self-likes than thinking, well, I'm the normal one, and virtually everyone else is a little bit mental. Even, you know, if you're aware of your mental instability, you still feel, you know, my normal is the normal, and the ones who are like me, they're normal too. And there's these other weirdos, they're not like me, so they're abnormal. So the complete absence of normality is immensely freeing. And I've noticed, I don't speak about COVID much, but I have noticed with fear, where there's been more and so much more fear over the last year, really obvious fear when you're out, is that there's even greater fear of non-compliance, normality, doing what you're told. Selves are very good at policing themselves and other selves, about saying what is acceptable and what's not, what's normal and what's abnormal. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not very pleasant. Can't say I like it much. I'm guessing some of you don't either. Anyway, I'm going to finish on time today. And the reason I'm going to finish on time is because my friend Neil is doing this Nothing Cafe, where you can just come for a chat in a minute or two if you want to. And Darren, it's not time to play golf yet, Dimitri, it's dark. It'd be ridiculous. We haven't got floodlit golf courses in Cambridgeshire. And yeah, Darren's going to put the link in the chat if you're interested in going.
Yeah.
And I will just remind you again that I won't do, I'm not doing a meeting on Monday because I'm playing golf. There, I've said it, I've confessed. I was going to keep it quiet, but fuck it. So there'll be a meeting, but I think next Thursday, I'll say it'll be an hour and a half next Thursday. To have a bit longer. That's what I used to do when I first started doing it. So thanks very much for coming. perhaps see some of you at the cafe. If not, hope to see some of you next Thursday. Thanks very much for coming, everybody.
Thank you, Tim.
Thanks,
Take care.
Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
Bye.
Thanks, Tim.
Later.
Thanks,
Goodbye.
Tim.
All the best.
Bye. Bye, Tim.
Bye.
Bye. Woohoo!
Woohoo.
Tim, I've registered for you.
Oh, thanks.
Neil speaking. So you'll have an email in your inbox.
Oh, thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
going. I'm going to have a beer.
Cool. See you guys there.
Cheers.
See you there.
Thanks, everyone.